This 5th gen 4Runner behind me is getting a huge upgrade today that I've been planning for months, and the time has finally arrived. We're installing the new Prinsu Pro rack on the 4Runner, which is gonna make other awesomeness possible. In this video, we're gonna do a detailed install guide on the Prinsu Pro rack, briefly compare it to the rack I've had for almost 3 years and why I'm swapping it out. I'll show important extra steps to protect your paint. Disclaimer, full transparency is a good thing. I received this rack in exchange for producing this video for you all. If you want to save 5% off the rack, any Prinsu or CBI part, use the coupon code down in the description, and that supports these videos.
The 4Runner is one of the easiest vehicles to swap roof racks I've ever worked on. If you're replacing the factory roof rack, use a plastic trim tool to pop off the plastic covers. Then remove the 8 12mm bolts and take off the stock side rails. Now, some racks reuse those bolts, but the Prinsu rack supplies new ones.
Well, I thought now would be a great time to talk about the roof rack that I've had on my 4Runner for almost 3 years, which is the LFD Off-Road 3/4 length roof rack. So we'll start with the good about it. First off, it is pretty darn affordable. The cool thing about it, and I've talked about this in a really old 4Runner video, is you can actually buy these crossbars and they work with the factory side rails. So then, you know, you get those and you can mount a tent, do that kind of thing, and that's exactly what I did. And then later on, I bought the full 3/4 length roof rack system that included more crossbars, the front fairing, and the side rails. Now for the less good, because it does stick up so high, it is pretty noisy. We noticed that right off the bat when it comes to wind noise on the highway. If you were to mount anything taller than what I have here on my rack, you're gonna have a hard time fitting your 4Runner inside of a standard, you know, home garage door. Like my house garage has a 7-foot door. Here in the shop, it's an 8-foot door. The 7-foot door, that bike rack barely clears. And if you were to say do anything cool like mount a Go Fast camper tent, it probably wouldn't fit in the garage, which would be an issue, which might cause you to want a new roof rack. Who can say?
Removing the LFD rack is the same as the OEM side rails, just take out those 8 bolts.
Wait, that's a heavy something.
Yeah, it's made out of steel. There we go. Yeah.
The LFD rack has these spacer blocks that I also needed to remove and clean out the silicone residue. Make sure the area around the mounting holes is perfectly clean from dirt or any kind of residue, including silicone, from old rack systems before moving on. Now, I went the extra mile and removed the hard water spots from my paint and ceramic coated the roof to prevent future damage. Frankly, doing this is almost a video in and of itself. And I highly recommend this step because Prinsu racks are pretty difficult to clean under once they're in place. If you want to just watch the rack install and hear my final thoughts on it, skip to this point in the video now.
All right, so for our paint prep, we have these products. Oh, holy crap.
You nailed it.
I did?
Yeah.
Okay, good. All right, so for the hard water spots, we're gonna be using Chemical Guys heavy duty water spot remover. Along with that, because I'm gonna just show all the brands that I like, we also have Griot's Garage detailing spray, which is really good stuff. And then we're gonna do a ceramic coating of the roof. I've used several different ceramic coatings in the past. They're all pretty good. This one is from Adams Polishes. It's a graphene ceramic coating kit. I've heard really good things about it. Let's get to work.
When removing hard water spots, make sure the paint is as clean as possible. I use glass cleaner to do a final cleaning before starting. Apply several drops of the hard water remover to an applicator pad. Work in a 2-foot by 2-foot area in a cross pattern to apply the hard water remover. This stuff is pretty harsh, so don't leave it on the paint for long. Use soapy water or detailing spray to neutralize the product and wipe it off. This stuff worked very well for the most part. I did need to go over a couple spots multiple times to get the spots out, but overall, awesome results.
That is incredible. Nice.
Going even more overboard, I did a quick round of cleaning using detailing clay. The purpose of this is to remove contaminants from paint before applying a ceramic coating or a polish. Again, you want to do this when the paint is perfectly clean. Use the detailing spray to lubricate the clay and the area you're working on. Again, we're working in a 2-foot by 2-foot area. For more information on claying your paint, I'll link to another video of mine in the description. The before and after of the roof was very impressive. Okay, with all that done, we're ready to seal the paint. The Adams kit has you start by wiping down the paint with their surface prep spray and a microfiber cloth. Also, you want to do this job out of direct sunlight, in a garage if possible. Shake the ceramic coating bottle and apply several healthy drops to the suede applicator block. Work in a 3-foot by 3-foot area, evenly applying in a cross-hatch pattern. In left, right, and up-down passes, reapplying drops to the block as needed. After a bit, the surface oils will start to separate and look rainbow-esque. Wait until the coating is slightly tacky and then use the supplied suede towel to buff the area to an even and smooth finish. Repeat these steps until the entire area is covered.
All right, it's one day later. We let the ceramic coating cure for about 24 hours, which they recommend before exposing it to elements like roof rack installs. So now that it's cured, it feels nice and buttery smooth. Very happy we did that extra step. All right, here's an exploded view of a Prinsu Pro rack for the 4Runner with everything kind of laid out. I hope you guys appreciate videos with extra detail because I'm covering stuff that Prinsu doesn't cover in their install video, in the written instructions, like the torque spec rating for the bolts that go into the factory mounting points. So if you appreciate that, hit that like button, leave a comment, and even consider subscribing. Help Jason Explains Things reach 100,000 subscribers in 2024. We just hit 90,000 not that long ago, and to get 100,000 by the end of the year, I'm gonna need your help. Let's go over what is kind of different about the Pro version of this rack versus the older versions like what I have on my Tacoma outside. So first off, the crossbars. They've been redesigned so that they have a higher load rating, that they're stronger. Also, if you kind of check them out, I'll get a close-up of this, they're smoother on the bottom. Crossbars are stronger, the side rails are also stronger, and now they're also double plated. So Prinsu claims that they're 15 times stronger than they used to be. According to Prinsu, again, 600 pounds dynamic load rating, which is when you're like, that's your max when you're driving around, and then 1,000 pounds static. I would never go that high, but you know, you don't need to be afraid about putting a 200-pound tent on the top of your roof, anything like that. This new rack also has bolt-on mounting feet, which makes the whole thing able to be even more lower profile than it used to be. We got all our hardware nicely organized in these bags. They also claim that they have upgraded all the hardware to now be black stainless steel, which is great. I will say I like my whittle wadder, but that hardware has started to deteriorate, which is gonna make me have to take my ladder off at some point and replace that hardware because it is starting to corrode and rust. That is an issue, so I'm very glad that they upgraded that.
Let the install montage begin. Tools are very basic and listed on screen. There were some discrepancies between what I received and what the instructions said I would need, which I'll cover. Start by assembling the side rails, mounting feet, and crossbars that aren't above mounting feet. Use the supplied purple thread locker on all hardware. Also, only hand tighten things until the rack is installed.
So the instructions say you're using T30 hardware, but none of this is T30. It's all gonna be the H4 hex bits.
The two smaller side rail pieces go on the inside of the longer outer rail piece, and these will be secured in place by the crossbar hardware. The mounting feet are labeled P or D, P for passenger side, D for driver. They are shaped differently, and the cutout of the inner side rail piece will let you know which goes where. After loosely connecting the center and rear mounting feet on each side rail, now connect the two side rails together with the crossbars. This goes way faster with a buddy or special lady friend.
So now we can set our spacers up there, put some silicone, and get this in place.
With the area around the mounting holes perfectly clean, place the supplied rubber washers over each hole, making sure they're around the plastic sleeve. Then place the aluminum spacers over each hole. You'll need to fill the inside of each riser with silicone, but I'd recommend doing that after the rack is setting on top of the risers. Let's get the rack on the 4Runner.
Because all of these spacers are just kind of sitting on top of washers, and everything is kind of wanting to move. So what we're gonna do is once everything's lined up at least a little bit as far as the spacer to the hole, we'll put silicone in there, then the bolt, then we know the silicone's in there, the bolt's loosely in there, and then we'll line everything. Maybe even put a little bit more silicone in there, and then we'll move on. Pro tip, these are not 7/16, they're 1/2 inch.
Way over there.
High five!
Hi, buddy.
Make sure your alignment is correct, then secure all 8 mounting bolts, but don't torque them down just yet.
So things lined up pretty darn easily right off the bat. Eyeballed the front, the back, looks pretty good. The one thing that I really like, the adjustable mounting feet. What I did is, this one, pretty good right off the bat. I'll just tighten that up. For the back, I raised it up so kind of the profile matches that one.
It's time to mount the front mounting feet that rest inside the rain gutter. Mark the rubber where it needs to be trimmed, and then trim the spot for each foot. Remove the backing from the tape and then install the foot. You can now make sure all your mounting feet are at the height you desire. Use the screws, washers, and T-nuts in the wind deflector hardware bag to attach the deflector to the raw aluminum crossbar. Install the rubber trim to the deflector and trim to length. Now install the deflector onto the roof. One negative compared to the old Prinsu rack is that the deflector position is not adjustable. I'd rather it not contact the paint. Speaking here from experience with other racks. I'll talk more about this in the ending review. Install the remaining crossbars, and you might need to loosen the mounting feet, the front wind deflector, and other things to do that. Torque the 8 mounting bolts to 23 foot-pounds. This was a little tricky for me, and I'd imagine it was because of the rubber washers. Make sure to not over-torque these bolts because the mounting nuts inside the vehicle are just spot welded in place and can break. Now go around and tighten all the crossbar and feet hardware, and you're done.
The Whittle Watter isn't pointless, you guys. See, I'm using it. Don't fall on the ground. Okay, well, it's been a few days with the Prinsu Pro rack, and we are very happy with it. I love how it looks. Driving up to the trailhead, I can confirm that the new rack is so much quieter than the other one. It is kind of a night and day difference. I don't know if there's like a decibel rating difference, but I don't know. It sounds like there's no rack up there now, so thumbs up for that. Only negative thing I can say about it is honestly the fact that I can't adjust the front wind deflector. I don't like that it touches the paint. One thing I might do in the future is add a little bit of clear vinyl right to the front and just protect the paint from getting worn through all the way, and then the vinyl could be a sacrificial layer. So that's one thing I might do. Other than that, I'm very, very happy with this. I fully intended to reveal to you guys what we're gonna install up here and why we needed a longer rack and also lower profile. Spoilers, it is an awesome new tent from Go Fast Campers, but I'm missing some specialty hardware that you cannot get in town. These crossbars with the T-tracks are pretty restrictive in what you can put in there. So I have that on order, and pretty soon I can reveal my new rooftop tent camping setup to you guys, so you're gonna wanna subscribe and turn on notifications for that video. Reminder, check the description for links and discount codes to all the stuff, including parts, tools that you saw in this install. Until next time, everyone, God bless all of you, and don't forget to do it yourself.